which is watching the game, watching the Chiefs from home. He told reporters yesterday that he actually could play if they could work out a deal, but he also said he's going to stand firm. So it doesn't seem like either side is going to budge, so I think he'll be home. Travis Kelce, this is a scary one because they're going to see if he can go today. They're going to try to work him out. But the game is tonight. Like, I don't understand how you can have a compromised Travis Kelce out there. So
listen,
we'll see.
You've got a mini bye coming up after this. You've got a long season ahead of you, and you got Andy Reid, who has always been conservative when it comes to the possibility of injury. I don't know any more than anybody else, but I will be shocked if Travis Kelce is on the field tonight. So with that thought in mind, Dan, I just gave the numbers. Mahomes in openers, 18 touchdowns, 0 picks. He's the best, but without his security blanket, can he be Patrick tonight?
Only guy in the league that can still win this game.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. And reality is, I'm tired of hearing the word potential in Kansas City. For the receivers, you hear Kadarius Toney, potential. Sky Moore, potential. Justin Ross, potential. It's time. It's time to show up, because if Travis Kelce doesn't play tonight, the number one question is, where are the winners? And Harry knows this. Third down, red zone, Travis Kelce was always the biggest part. Noah Gray's going to have to play tight end. Can he kind of play the role of Travis Kelce? Move around in formation stuff, motion people. But at some point, Travis Kelce on third down in the red zone, last year, 32 targets in the red zone, led them by far. 41 targets on third down, led them by far. That's 73 targets in those situational football moments. At some point, these receivers, it can't no longer be, for me, Kadarius Toney's the ex-first-round pick that's got tremendous potential. Okay, here we go. Justin Ross hasn't stayed healthy. Tremendous potential. Here we go. National television starts the season. Show up.
Look, you're the only one of us who has lived this experience when you were a quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes has literally never been without Travis Kelce. He hasn't missed a game because of injury since 2014. Kelce, I mean, that's before Mahomes got in the league. So in those moments, I'm envisioning he's looking around. Where's my guy? It has to change things even for the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, a lot of times you go into games thinking who's that person going to be. I feel good about, but you never know until you're actually in it. You never know until that third down comes and you're thinking, well, usually I start this play with Travis Kelce, but I can't start with Travis. Am I going to really start it with Noah Gray? Am I going to really start it with a Kadarius Toney? Until those guys prove to you, without Travis on the field, I can get the job done. Reality, Greeny, it's a question mark. It's a question mark.
And who is that next guy, like Dan mentioned? It was Juju Smith-Schuster last year. He was able to step up and make plays for this team, but now it's time for those young guys. I'm with Dan. I'm tired of the question marks about who it's going to be. It's time to actually go out there and step up when your team needs you the most. And Travis Kelce, even if he's out there, Dan, I'm worried about the releases off the line of scrimmage versus man coverage if he's not 100%. The excellent route running, because he does run routes like a wide receiver. And then lastly, the yak yards. He's been better than just about anybody the last few yards and yards after catch when he catches the football. So if he is out there, I'm worried about those things being limited that he does so well.
All right, and then so they have Mahomes to try and cover up for that. How about Chris Jones? They don't have anyone to cover up for that. Are we about to see this rookie running back for Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs, running wild all over the field tonight?
About time y'all came to the line of scrimmage. That's what the game is won anyway. Okay, but listen, Chris Jones is what Travis Kelce means on offense. He's that type of person on the defensive side of the football. He's a versatile piece. He's their best player on defense. We talked about last year with Kansas City. They played a lot of young guys in their secondary. Sure. Those guys have gotten better. But nobody stirs that pot more than Chris Jones. Chris Jones is the guy that offensive coordinators game plan for because he's versatile and he can wreck your game. So Chris Jones not being in that lineup for the Kansas City Chiefs on defense is a major, major problem for me.
But I think the Kelce injury is a bigger miss or loss than Chris Jones. They've been preparing to play without Chris Jones for a while now, because he's been holding out.
Right, yeah.
Travis got hurt 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
They haven't had a full-speed practice. They've built their whole game. One of the things that Andy Reid does better maybe than any coach in the history of the NFL was game one, because he gets this mind of his going. He builds these game plans or whatnot. He's been doing all of that with Travis Kelce in mind. Now you go back and sit there and go, well, what are we going to do without Travis Kelce? In relation to Chris Jones, I felt that this was going to be a big-time challenge for Kansas City's defense no matter what, because their style of offense in Detroit and the offensive line. Without Chris Jones, I think Detroit's mindset is one thing. Here come the double teams. No defensive tackle last year took on more double teams than Chris Jones. So who's going to be that guy now? We're having a conversation of, offensively, who are you going to replace Travis Kelce with? If you're Kansas City, you're saying, There is no replacement.
Well, that's what that's the point you're making is why the Chris Jones absence is so big. Because it's not just Chris Jones, it's Charles Omenihu. Like, they literally, guys that they thought they were going to have are not there. And even Patrick Mahomes on his worst day, better than half the quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
Let me say this also. The Detroit Lions last 8 games last year averaged more points per game than the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So they're not having Chris Jones in the middle of that defense. That Detroit Lions offense is licking their chops right now.
Actually, Orlovsky, you know this better than anybody because you were there and you understand the mentality in Detroit. No one has had this state circled more than the Lions have. The rest of the world views this as the Kansas City Chiefs opening up their defense and all that. The Lions, they believe they've got something special this year and they are ready to show it to the world.
It's the best roster they've had in 30 years. And I would say it's the first time in a very long time that the roster matches the head coach's identity. You know, we say that phrase in football all the time, like, what's your identity? And I think it's kind of twofold, Greeny. Number one, the identity is we are going to be smash mouth, physical, out physical you, and kind of push you around. Philosophically, this is the San Francisco 49ers offensively. And I think that's the difference for Detroit in maybe 30-plus years is they got their roster finally. Like, I was there with a guy named Rod Marinelli, who was very similar to Dan Campbell. Tough, hard-nosed, physical, but our roster didn't match what he wanted to be. The expectation, I honestly believe, now sits there and goes, Detroit's going to go win the game. I think that's the expectation, whether Travis Kelce plays or not, because they think they can out-physical what many people would kind of view as maybe not the most overly physical.
Oh, only D-Wood is going with Kmart.
Yep.
What happened to this upset everybody is picking?
Yeah.
What happened to that?
You know what? I wonder if not having Travis Kelce, could it ultimately end up being a good thing if he doesn't play?
Listen,
No. Hear me out.
Did you say not having Travis Kelce?
No. Hear me out. I think the Chiefs it'll be close. I think the Chiefs might still win. But to your point about other guys have to step up, in moments like this, like we've talked about the Chiefs, oh, what are they going to be without Tyreek Hill? Oh, boy, like it's done now. And they end up winning the Super Bowl. Like, at some point, the Chiefs have to have a guy behind Travis Kelce. Somebody else has to be that person, and this is an opportunity to be
You know what this is? This is a default to one guy.
It's only respect
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's why all you guys have picked the Kansas City Chiefs because it's going to default to Patrick Mahomes.
But why would you not
greatness.
default to the best quarterback in the NFL?
Two things. Yeah. The only reason I'm picking Kansas City is, well, two reasons. One, respect for Patrick. Two, they still have one of the, if not the best offensive lines in football. So I'll remain steadfast in committing to this. An elite offensive line makes everyone else around that offensive line better.
Harry, I cannot believe you're taking Kansas City.
Well, yeah, and because when I look at the Detroit Lions, we got to remember this is one of the worst, defensive football teams in football last year. Now, they revamped their secondary. They brought a lot of guys in, but they were 29th versus the run. So it wouldn't surprise me if Kansas City and Andy Reid, being the mastermind that he is, comes out and runs the football with Pacheco, Edwards-Helaire, and also McKinnon.
Listen,
it wouldn't surprise me at all.
If Kansas City comes out and runs the football, Detroit's going to be like, thank you. Thank you. That's exactly. You're taking the best. Now the 3 best players that you have are out of the game. That's if I was Detroit and you're going to try to run the football on me, we'll take Kelce, Jones aren't there, and now Patrick's not playing, essentially. Great.
I'll give you my first bold prediction of the year. I don't like the Lions tonight. I love the Lions tonight. I think the Lions win, and I don't think it's that close. Let's get bold predictions from everybody else. Looking ahead to Week 1 as we make our Week 1 bold predictions. Danny, give me something from this weekend you're looking to see.
You just said the Chiefs are going to get blown out at home, and I can't get past that. Okay, Bryce Young is going to be the first #1 pick at quarterback taken to win their first start in 21 years. The last #1 quarterback taken first to win their first start was Derek Carr from the Houston Texans in 2002. Bryce Young takes 2 decades to finally erase that.
Yeah, that was actually the only game he won. I just looked it up. Kmart, bold prediction, Week 1.
Okay, here it goes, guys. Dak Prescott is about to silence all the doubters, including Stephen A. Smith.
Oh.
I think he's ready. Honestly, this is a guy, the stage is set for the Dallas Cowboys to actually be very good in the postseason. I think it starts against the Giants. This is a really good game. And I think the Giants are going to bring the pressure, but Dak, he's great against the blitz, so I think he's going to have a good game.
Sunday night, she likes Dak. Harry, give me a bold prediction.
Harry!
I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the San Francisco 49ers in Game 1. I like what this team has done the last 2 years in their first game. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals. That defense sacking the quarterback, creating turnovers. The year before, they beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. All of their players are healthy, and that's something to be said. And we all know how they play when T.J. Watt is on the football field.
I love him. Take it. One more for you, D. Wood.
We talking bold, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? Sam Darnold's going to come in at some point this season, going to lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl. I mean,
No. Don't congratulate that. Don't congratulate that.
I mean,
Don't do
everybody
that.
else kind of got one foot in, 1 foot out of the pool. I'm jumping right in.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.